Last Sunday we were studying verses 40 and 41 of the third chapter of the Gita, dealing with the subject of crime and sin and how to overcome it. In these verses, verse 40 told us that the location of all crime and other tendencies is in the sensory system and the mind and the intellect. Indriyani mano buddhi asya adhishthana uchyate. What we call in physical language infection. The body gets infected. A particular organ becomes infected. We try to detoxify that system and restore the body to health. Similarly, there is such a thing as toxin of the mind. It begins with the sense organ. It is good for people to know, where is my enemy? Just like in a fort, enemy is attacking, the outer door is open, enemy enters. We have to shut that door and protect it carefully. So in this body, we have the outermost, the sensory system. The first infection comes there. Infection doesn't come to the buddhi first, not to the manas, but to the sensory system. And so, in 41, Sri Krishna said, Tasmatvam indriyanyado niyamya bhardarshabha papmanam pradihihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Therefore, Arjuna, discipline the outermost layer of your personality, the sensory system. And this system once gets infected, all your knowledge and realization will be destroyed. Jnana vijnana nashanam. So take care that there is no infection of the sensory system. Very profound psychological truth is being expounded there. We are not a table or a chair. We are a living entity. And this sensory system can take in and give out. What it takes in must be healthy. Then only what it gives out will be healthy. Just like the food that you take, it must be healthy. Whenever you see on the roadside food materials being kept for sale, full of flies, no protection, what a dangerous thing it is. How much infection comes to the human body by taking such food. We are trying to overcome all this by introducing sanitary measures, educating the people, protection of the food that is consumed by people. All these measures are being taken, and I am sure we shall succeed in protecting the physical health of people from unnecessary infection coming through the sensory system. But the biggest problem is the infection of the mind, which comes also through the sensory system. So we have to take care to see the sensory system does not get infected. So he gave that teaching, Tasmatvam indriyani adav niyamya. First of all, adav. Don't try with the mind. Don't try with the buddhi. Try with the sensory system. Discipline the sensory energies. Niyamya. Doesn't say suppress, doesn't say destroy, regulate. Niyamana means regulation, discipline. That much is needed. Without which, you can't build up your character, your personality, or achieve life fulfillment. Animals never discipline their sensory system. They have got a natural discipline, as I said earlier, built into their genetic constitution. Man alone can consciously discipline sensory energies. So do so, niyamya, Bharadarshabha. Then this enemy that is going to destroy you, your knowledge, your realization, conquer that enemy in the beginning itself. If you don't do so, first the sensory system becomes infected. That infection spreads to the mind, to the manas. Our thinking also becomes infected. Then it becomes more difficult to handle. When the mind becomes infected, it is very difficult to handle that infection. And still further, when the buddhi becomes infected, the only instrument we have for discrimination, viveka, the definition of buddhi is the concept of discrimination. What is right, what is wrong, what is to be done, what is not to be done, and a determination, this way I shall do. That's what buddhi does. Nischayatmika buddhi. Nischaya, determination. We can see not only intelligence at the level of buddhi, but also the will. A combination of intelligence and will is what makes for buddhi. So the buddhi decides finally, according to the infection that has come to it, then it becomes extremely difficult to handle the problem. Better to do it in the early stages. Even in medical science, doctors always tell you, whatever diseases appear, go to the doctor in the early stages, not when it has spread in the body. Early stages you can be cured. Medical science is quite efficient that way. But once it takes charge of so many important parts of the body, then treatment becomes difficult and health becomes in difficult situation. In the case of the mind, it is much more difficult. Here we are dealing with physical realities, and medicine also is physical reality. So something physical, something tangible, you can study. You have got your microscope, you have got your electron microscope, you can study all this so that the body is concerned. But when you come to the mental infection, you are not capable of that kind of study. You don't know the mind, you don't see the mind. The sense organs are there, we can handle them. But the infection in the sense organs cannot be handled, because it straight away goes to the manas also, becomes very, very intangible. So it is difficult if you don't deal with it in the beginning itself. What all we call character training is based upon this conception. Any child, its sensory system must be disciplined. After about 5th year, that discipline begins. Then only it develops a high character. Its mind becomes clean and pure without any infection. What little infection is there can be handled by normal behavior of life. In this way, children become healthy with a balanced mind. Healthy mindedness is a beautiful word. You can easily watch children and distinguish between the healthy minded and the unhealthy minded, where some infection has gone in, distorting the psychic system. That distorts your judgment. That distorts your behavior, your interhuman relationship. In this way, series of bad things come upon human system. Character becomes disoriented, an unbalanced disposition. All these are happening every day, all over the world. When I was in Tokyo in '86, they arranged a lecture along with a luncheon. And the subject there was children, humanity's greatest assets. That lecture is there, the booklet in the office here, in the bookstall. The most important subject, our asset is children, not the house, not the bank account, not money. These are secondary. Primary asset is children. If they are healthy, if they are in a well-balanced disposition, we are happy, they are happy, and the world is happy. If they go wrong, all are unhappy. So we have to protect the health of children, physical as well as psychic. And today there is great need for psychic health of children and to protect that psychic health. In advanced countries, physically, children are well fed, well looked after. All the calories needed they get. But their greatest problem is infection of the mind. Very early in life it starts. Distortion of the mind starts very early in life. Last week I referred to that Portland lecture in the radio. I saw young people following a particular philosophy in America. They called it impulse release philosophy. Whatever impulses arise in the mind, give quick release for it. Don't check it. Don't control it. That is the philosophy. Impulse release philosophy. Against which I was arguing in that radio talk. Many people accept this idea, impulse release philosophy. Parents accept it. Teachers accept it. Psychologists accept it. And they tell children, if you are deprived of that free expression of your impulse, if some check is given on it, it will be dangerous for your personality. You will get a traumatic condition. See, the word trauma is used there. If you check your impulses, you will have a trauma. And a series of trauma will be worse for the child. That is a strange new doctrine that has come in modern civilization, against which I was trying to argue that some impulses are worth releasing, but not all impulses. Some are to be checked. Why do you get trauma? Because of very spiritual weakness within. We are essentially very delicate today. Our spiritual strength is nil. A little scolding will make a man go and commit suicide. That kind of weakness you find in people today. Extremely sensitive. That is a inner weakness. So certain impulses need checking. Otherwise you won't be a human being. You will be an animal. That idea I put forth in that discussion, and the interviewer was very happy. They have not heard this thing. So I said, here is an impulse. I check it. I verify it. It has come as a result of the sensory system coming in contact with sensory objects. The impulse has come. But discriminate. Check. That is absolutely essential. Otherwise, a worse distortion will come to the human psyche, which will be beyond your control later on. You must be able to stand a little bit of this trauma. You must have that inner strength, knowing that it is needed at the human level. Man's life is a struggle. Animals have no struggle. Man is a combination of necessity and freedom. We are partly determined by nature, partly we are free. A little bit of that freedom in us makes us restless. The only restless being in God's creation. Man alone is restless. That little freedom in me wants to express. So many things are thwarting me all the time. So a combination of freedom and necessity makes man a unique creature in the whole of nature. It is there. We are asked to take charge of this little freedom and let it not become a thraldom to the senses, which is no freedom at all. That we are already as an animal. When you are a human being, you want to be free, not like an animal which only says yes to whatever sensory system tells it. We are asked to discipline these sensory energies, without which no higher development is possible. Man alone can have that higher development. And so, this 40th sloka told us, Tasmatvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatarshabha. Plus, having disciplined the sensory system, you can overcome all the other developments that will come later. Then only you will be free from that infection which otherwise will destroy jnana vijnana nashanam. Whatever jnana you have, whatever vijnana you have, both become destroyed. In any study of crime and criminal behavior, you can see the operation of these truths mentioned here clearly. Step by step you can see. When I commit a crime, that crime has behind it a series of changes taking place in my system. That is being studied here, broadly speaking. And here the advice is given by Krishna. First, handle the sensory system. As a human being, if you want to develop character, if you want to realize your higher potentialities, you must discipline this tremendous energy system known as the senses. Like controlling the horse to have a good journey, a good riding. That is the first step that is given here. Then what happens? When the sensory system are free from infection, mind remains healthy and buddhi remains healthy. Your pursuit of human excellence becomes a success. Human excellence is the goal. There are profound possibilities hidden within us. We have to unveil them. All that needs this early discipline of the sensory system. So verses 40 and 41 we studied last Sunday, and the last line, Jnana Vijnana Nashanam, destroy that enemy, enam, this enemy, which destroys your jnana and vijnana. This is the teaching given in these two verses. Then we go to verse 42. That is a wonderful verse. It gives you an idea of various layers of the human personality. We look like a simple individual. We are not. So many layers are there. Just like the skin has many layers. We see only one skin, but an anatomist can see various layers of the skin. Similarly, when you penetrate into a human body, you find so many layers of the human individuality. The I which you call as your own self is a series of layers, and there is a wonderful quality about these layers that will be told in the verse. The verse says, verse 42, Indriyani paranyahu. Indriyebhya param manaha. Manasastu para buddhi. Yo buddhe paratastu saha. In one simple verse, this Gita has given you the entire knowledge contained in the Taittiriya Upanishad, which is a special study of these various layers of the human individuality. There it is said, first is Annamaya Kosha, the kosha consisting of food, this external body. Transformation of food makes for your body and my body, Annamaya Kosha. But that kosha is energized by the second layer, Pranamaya Kosha, bioenergy. Sensory system depends upon that bioenergy. Then in further interior you go, the psychic system, Manomaya Kosha, which we are all handling every minute. Day-to-day life is conducted by the Manomaya Kosha. Shankaracharya refers to it in the Viveka Chudamani in a beautiful verse. Manomaya Agnir Vahati Prapancham. This fire of Manomaya carries on all the activities of the world. That is the Manomaya Kosha. Beyond which is the Buddhi, the Vijnana, Vijnanamaya Kosha. And still further, deeper is the Anandamaya Kosha. The Atman, our own divine nature, our own true individuality is surrounded by so many koshas. We have to negate the external, then the next one to come across the real self that we are. This is called Panchakosha Vidya, the science of the five koshas. In this verse, Krishna takes all the five into three koshas. First is the Indriya, second is the Manas, third is the Buddhi. Beyond the Buddhi is the infinite Atman. That is the language of this verse 42. There is one key word coming there, the word para. Para is always superior, greater, better, higher. That's why para. Parakashtha, Parashakti, and you use the word para, Paramatman. I think something higher, something of a higher quality. So, Indriyebhya Parahyatha says, these sense organs are the product of the nuclear dimensions of matter. Ordinary dimension of matter will help to create rocks and stones and other things in the outer nature and the ordinary physical body in our system. But the sense organs come from a more subtle dimension of matter. We call it today the nuclear dimension. In Sanskrit, it is called Sukshma Bhutavastu, the very subtle dimension of matter. So, Indriyani Paran, they are superior to, Artha is superior to the Indriyas. Indriyas are the sensory system. They come out of the Artha, sense objects, not what you see with your senses, but what you cannot see, the subtle dimension of matter. They call it the nuclear dimension. Sukshma, extremely subtle it is. That becomes transformed into this wonderful sensory system in all living beings. So that is superior. Indriyani Paranyahu. Indriyas are superior to the ordinary matter around you. But Indriyas are inferior to the subtle matter around you. Here we deal with the ordinary matter which the Indriyas have to see, observe and take in. Indriyas are superior. Para, higher. What the word para means I shall tell later. in the language of Shankaracharya, Indriyani Paranyahu, Indriyebhya Param Manaha. Manas is superior to the sensory system. Manas controls, regulates the sensory system. That is certainly higher and superior in value. Manasastu para buddhi. Buddhi is superior and higher to the manas because it controls the manas and the sense organs also. And what lies beyond the buddhi? Yo buddhehe parataha. What is higher than the buddhi? Superior to the buddhi? Saha. That one reality. The word sa means he. That one he who is the supreme Atman. He is the supreme here. Superior to all these three. Sensory system, psychic system, rational system or buddhi. Just behind the buddhi is the Atman, the infinite self. And there is one special quality about that reality of the Atman. Saha. Om Tat Sat. Say that supreme reality. Similarly, Tat Tvamasi. You are that. You are that. In all these statements, we refer to that Atman, the infinite self. A special quality of that is, it is ever pure, ever free, ever luminous. That is the supreme teaching of Vedanta. No sin can affect the Atman. No infection can touch the Atman. That's why it's called ever free. It's only in Vedanta and in all the what is called mystics teachings of the world religions, you will get this teaching. Sufi, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, all. The mystics, they have experienced the truth and they will always say the self of man is ever pure, ever free, ever illumined. All infections come from lower levels. They never reach there. That is a profound truth and the most inspiring truth for humanity. If everything is dirty, how can you remove dirt? Suppose there is so much of dirt around you and you go to take water to wash it. That water also is dirty. How can you remove dirt? There must be some clean water to remove the dirt. So in this Vedantic thinking, as a result of a penetration to the self of man, they discovered the pure, infinite self behind the body-mind complex. In the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Shankaracharya refers to it as Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Mukta, Nitya Buddha Swabhava Paramatman. That supreme self, which is Nitya Shuddha, ever pure, Nitya Mukta, ever free, Nitya Buddha, ever awakened. It is only the ego tied to the body-mind complex that is subject to evils, crime, sin, etc., etc. Within us, both these dimensions are there. The one that is subject to suffering, evil, crime, good deeds, that is a little ego. The other is ever pure, ever free, ever illumined, that is also there. How beautifully the Upanishads describe this remarkable phenomenon in man by giving the example of two birds on the same tree. Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vriksham parishasvajate tayoranyah pippalam swadvat anashnanyanyo abhishakashiti. On the self-same tree, says the Mundaka Upanishad, are two beautiful birds. Intimate friends they are, with fine plumage. That is the Jiva and the Atman within the same tree of the body. That's a wonderful example given there. It is this lower one that suffers, that enjoys, that does crime, that does good, etc., etc. We are that. But our true nature is that. The teaching given is therefore to this lower self, teaching is given, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi. You are really that. This you are because you are tied down to the body-mind complex. Therefore you feel petty, small, passing through, suffering, joy, etc., etc. But really you are that ever pure, ever free, ever awakened self. That is your true nature. In Vedanta, therefore, this penetrating study brought this truth before the mind of the sages, that you may have all the infection on the senses, manas and buddhi, but still there is one dimension of yours which is always uninfected. What a beautiful idea. How inspiring, how hope-inspiring. There is hope, there is hope. A doctor will say, yes, lot of infection is there, still some are free, we can act upon that. Similarly, Vedanta assures every human being that whatever may be infected in your system, even up to buddhi, truly your own essential self is ever pure, ever free. And so there is a possibility of your redemption. Remember that language. There is a possibility of your redemption built into each one of you, Vedantic teaching. We never say, therefore, man is a sinner. Nowhere in the Vedantic teaching you will find the teaching that man is a sinner. He commits sin. He does sin, there is no doubt. But he is not a sinner. Because he doesn't know his true nature, he commits sin. And therefore, to redeem a sinner, you don't need any external method. It is built into you. That's what he is going to tell in the last verse of this chapter. You can depend upon yourself, you can take help from others, but ultimately there is one dimension in you which is always clean and pure. That was a discovery made by the sages of the Upanishads long, long ago. And Vivekananda was addressing the Chicago Parliament, this subject came up. Is man a tiny organism acted upon by all the external forces, like a helpless piece of wood going up in the wave, falling down in the chasm of the wave, helplessly careering about? See, that is man. Our heart sinks in despair. There is no hope for man. Is it true? This question agitated the minds of the sages of the Upanishads, and one young sage stood up among the sages and proclaimed his great discovery. These are the language in the lecture on Chicago address, Vivekananda. He proclaimed a very hopeful message to all humanity. His realization was so tremendous, like Archimedes, he could simply say, Eureka, Eureka, something wonderful I have discovered. And the language in which he expresses that discovery even today contains that tremendous energy, that tremendous joy. And Vivekananda, when he pronounced that verse in that American audience, he carried the force of that tremendous discovery onto the people. And the language is this, that young sage, what he uttered, Shrinvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha. Hear me, Shrinvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha. Humanity everywhere, not in India, not in the Hindu religion, but everywhere. Please listen. Shunvantu. Vishwa means universal, everywhere. And he addressed them from his point of view, Amritasya Putra, children of immortality. O ye, children of immortality, listen to me. I have a good news to tell you. Shunvantu Vishwe, Amritasya Putra. Not only that, see the audacity of that sage. He sends his message to gods and angels in heaven. Aye dhamani divyani tastuhu. If there are angels, gods and goddesses in heaven, let them also listen to this message. It will do much good to them. See the audacity of the great teacher. What is that message? Did you study some books or built up by your fertile imagination? Say no. Vedahametam. I know this truth. I have realized this truth. I have experienced this truth. Vedahametam. That wonderful word has inspired all subsequent development of religion in India. But we do not understand it today. We have made religion a dead letter. He uses the word Vedahametam. It's not I believe, I have realized it. I experience it. You can also experience it. He's going to tell later on. Vedahametam. Religion is experience, not a belief, not a ritual. Some divine dimension you are going to experience. So Vedahametam. What is that? Purusham Mahantam. The infinite man behind this finite man. Mahantam is the word for infinite. Big, infinite. Alpa and Maha, two words in Sanskrit. This self is Alpa. We are small. That's why we are petty. We fight and kill each other for 5 rupees. That's called Alpa and small. They are doing it plenty in India. And all crime, all social delinquency comes from this being Alpa. Not knowing our Mahan nature. When a newly married couple, the husband burns his bride, what is the psychology there? Extremely small, extremely Alpa. So Alpatma we call it. The other is Mahatma. Gandhi was Mahatma. Everyone can be Mahatma. That is your birthright. So he calls it, I have realized that infinite self behind this finite self. Vedahametam. Purusham Mahantam. That infinite man behind the finite man, I have realized. Aditya Varnam. Glorious, luminous like the sun. Tamasap Parastat. Beyond all darkness and delusion. That is the truth I have discovered. But he did not say, you only believe me, you will be saved. He never said so. He said, you also realize this truth because it is your own birthright. You are not to beg and borrow from somebody else this truth. It is built into you. Never you will find in world's literature such authentic utterance of man's greatness and glory. The Upanishads are great because in that literature alone will you find this glory of man presented in such wonderful language with such conviction, which carries conviction to the listener. Having said this, therefore, the sage added, Tameva viditva atimrutyumeti nanyah pantha vidyate ayanaya. By realizing that truth alone, can you go beyond death and delusion. There is no other way, there is no other way. See the language. Nanya pantha vidyate. There is no other way, there is no other way. Realize this truth even a little, even a glimpse of it can change your life. Today, I am a corrupt individual. I get a glimpse of it through some reason or the other. My life is changed. Just a glimpse of it. Like Purandradasa, 500 years ago in Karnataka. a very miserly jewel merchant, won't spend a single pi to anybody. That man, by one divine touch, became completely transformed. He called all the people, distributed all his wealth, all the ornaments that were there, and took a small bundle and started out as a dasa, a servant of the divine, servant of man, singing gloriously to awaken humanity. That one Purandara Dasa is a tremendous example to anybody today. What happened to him? He had found a pearl of great price within himself. All these things became utterly meaningless to him. And that very message he conveyed in such beautiful Kannada language and such high music, deep music, Purandara Dasa's Kirtanas. Now that's not one example, there are thousands of such. When a man sitting in high throne gets a little glimpse of this truth, all that throne becomes nothing, absolutely nothing. Today we need to get a glimpse of this truth. The whole national character will be changed in one instant if people get a glimpse of this truth in this modern age. You don't need much, just a little. Somebody said, when you type on a typing machine, you get all small letters. Just shift the keyboard, that shift key, all become capital. Don't get any trouble at all, very quickly. Similarly, here is the petty-minded man, selfish, prone to cruelty, crime, everything. And yet, one glimpse came to him, the man changes. That is why sinners can become saints. Sinners have become saints. Great teachers, just one touch, a sinner becomes a saint. Through that touch, his mind becomes aware of this deeper dimension. From Buddha, in Krishna's life of Jesus, you can see how sinners become saints by one touch, one word, one look that awakens that divine dimension in that individual. Go and sin no more, Jesus said, and the sinner becomes a saint. This possibility is because we are essentially sinless. If you are really a sinner, nobody can change it. A thing cannot change its character. Svabhavam na jahati sa. An object which has a particular character cannot give up that character. But if it is only an external appearance behind which is the true character, then it can change. It realizes its own true nature. Fire cannot give up its heat. Water cannot give up its wetness. That is its nature. Prakriti, as they call it. So Shankara quotes this, Prabhavam na jahati sa. In any object, what is its true nature, it cannot give it up. Temporarily it can give it up. A piece of iron is cold. You put it into fire, it becomes red hot. That is a temporary quality. Its real nature is a cold lump of iron. After some time, it goes back to its nature. You only change it for a time being. From that point of view, Vedanta asks this question, what is the true nature of man? He is infinite. He is divine. He has forgotten it. He thinks he is part of this body-mind complex. He becomes small, he becomes petty. And so there is hope for him. Redemption. Built into his own system. You can be free, you can be free. Throughout the Vedantic literature, it is the song of freedom that you hear again and again. Be free, be free, be free. Realize your inherent freedom. Don't be a slave. Don't be a creature. Jantu in Sanskrit. Don't be a jantu. Be free, be free. So this shloka says in the last line, Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ayanaya. There is no other way to your redemption. Realize this truth. Even a glimpse of it, life becomes brighter, brighter. Having uttered this verse with its translation, Vivekananda goes into an ecstasy in expounding it there. Allow me to call you, brethren, by that sweet name, children of immortal bliss, Amritasya Putraha. Yea, the Hindu refuses to call you sinners. You are spirit free, immortal. You are not matter. Matter is your servant, not you the servant of matter. This is how that profound truth of the Upanishads, arising from a penetrating experience by the sages, was conveyed to the modern age by this great teacher, Vivekananda. And all his literature contains that one single message, message of freedom, message of fearlessness, message of love and concern. It comes from the truth which you realize a little, character changes, character becomes steady, it becomes founded on the rock. A building built on rock has no fear. Built on sand, it is always to fear. Winds, hurricanes, etc. So, Shrinvantu Vishve, Amritasya Putraha. See that universal vision. Man as man. Not as a nationality, race, sect, religion, creed. No, just human. Vedanta proclaims a human message to all humanity. That's why the world is running after it today. Just like physical science proclaims a universal message, and the whole world is after physical science. We have not to thrust it on people. Truths are always universal. Opinions are limited in scope. Here a profound truth is uttered. Shrinvantu Vishve, Amritasya Putra, children of immortality. Every child is a child of immortality. Convey these blessed ideas to your children, says Vivekananda, when they are young. You are that blessed one. Like that Queen Madalasa, whose story appears in our spiritual literature. When a child is born, she puts the child on the rocking up and down, singing this song. Shuddhosi buddhosi niranjanosi samsara maya malavajjitosi. Child, why are you weeping? You are that pure one. You are that ever free one, free from all the taints of samsara. That is your true nature. That is how Madalasa educated her children. Highly commended by Swamiji also. This kind of teaching, like our old way of dealing with children, you are a fool, you are this, especially in our old education, our teachers, they will always call students in the class, you are an ass, you are a donkey, you are a fool, wonderful qualities. That is what we had till now. But today's education is different. You respect the child. Some profound dimension is there. And the profoundest is this truth. Amritasya Putra. That is your true nature. That is education and religion. For religion is continued education. Experience going from sensory level to supersensory level. That is the basis of this particular verse which you heard. 42. Indriyani paranyahu. Indriyebhya param manaha. Manasastu para buddhi. Yo buddhe paratastu saha. Who is above buddhi is that Atman, your own self. Just think of your mind functioning as buddhi, discriminative faculty. Just think of it. Behind that buddhi is my infinite nature. Just look he must be there. But the capacity to look is not there. It is pulled out all the time. Shankara calls the Atman, therefore, that which is just behind Buddhi. Nedishtham Brahma. Brahman which is just behind the Buddhi. Nearest to Buddhi is the Atman. Only to look behind it is there. But that looking behind takes ages of struggle. It's not easy. That's why all this teaching is given. But one single truth that comes out of this teaching is, whatever part of your system may have become corrupted, infected, toxic, there is one dimension which is ever free from such corruption. That's your own true self. That is why sinners can become saints. Otherwise sinners have no hope. No hope at all. Radhakrishnan said in one lecture, every sinner has a future as every saint has a past. Just think of it. I am a saint today, but yesterday I was not. I am a sinner today, tomorrow I am not going to be a sinner. That truth about man has been expounded in the clearest, most rational language only in one literature, the Upanishads. Nowhere else in the world. It's called Aupanishadam Purusham. The disciple goes to the teacher in the Upanishads. Tell me about that Purusha which is taught only in the Upanishads. Upanishadseva vijñāyate na anyatra. Shankara comments upon it. Only in the Upanishads this subject is taught. That behind the body-mind complex of man is that infinite dimension. Therefore we are children of immortal bliss. Amritasya putraha. What a wonderful idea. So dealing with crime and delinquency in society, we want to overcome this. Wants to have a healthy society. We can trust each other. When people go to Benares in those days, they put their 10,000 rupees into the hands of a friend in the village and then go away. Because we don't know whether a man will live or die. 1.5 years it will take to go to Benares and come. If I die, give it to so and so, he will say. That's all. After a long time he returns, here is the 10,000 back to you. Because they all knew that money is an object. I am not a servant of that money. They all knew it. That is the one great lesson we have forgotten. We are the servant of 1 rupee or 5 rupees. Nothing more than that. People can do any evil just for 5 rupees. Not poor, well-to-do people. That is the trouble. So when we speak of problem of beggary in India, I always say there are 2 types of beggars in India. One is the beggar in the street. The other the beggarly person living in high mansions. They are called beggarly. This is beggar, that is beggarly. They do much worse than any beggar. All that has come because this truth was completely overlooked. We have to teach man this profound truth, for which India produced this Layana Vedanta, Vivekananda. Earlier it was Shankara. Earlier it was Buddha. Still earlier it was Krishna. The Layana Vedanta. Vedanta Kesari. The Garjana, the roaring of Vedanta. That roaring we need today. And Swamiji did it in his time. Let the lion of Vedanta roar. The foxes of fear and pettiness will run away. That's what Swamiji said. And so, this Vedanta Kesari is a wonderful instrument for taking us out of this crime, delinquency and other evil forces afflicting society, restoring man to his own worth and dignity. What a beautiful idea it is. In this verse, the word para, as I said earlier, has a deep meaning. I do not want to enter into it this evening because it is a subject by itself. So next Sunday, we shall take up this verse and the last verse, 43, for our study, by which this whole subject will be covered in those 7 verses. As I said, it has international relevance. How to fight crime and delinquency in society. How to bring peace into society. When I was in Australia in '86, they took me to the Deakin University. Deakin University is near Melbourne, in the philosophy class there. It was International Year of Peace. Professor asked me, address the students on religion and peace. So I went. I used the blackboard also, and very attentive students. In what form can religion become a source of peace? Normally it is not. All the communal troubles, all the killings here, there, everywhere come from religion. But at what stage can religion become a source of peace? That was a very fascinating theme for all of them. And I also enjoyed it. They have taken a TV video of it, and it is there. At some time we can see it. I saw it only yesterday, once again. So I'm only telling that we need this inspiration all over the world. From the Vedanta, where you get a rational presentation, which you can question, which you can experiment, which you can test and verify for yourself. And it is meant for all humanity, not for any group. So the remaining 2 verses, especially the subject of para, what does it mean in this context? And the last verse it says, take advantage of this uncorrupted nature in you. Remove all the corruption that is within you with the help of that. That's the last message of the chapter. We shall deal with it next Sunday when we meet here. We'll spend a minute in silence and meditation and then take leave.